Hello and welcome back to me and joining me on Star Trek Fleet Command. I just want to say apologies for the lack of content over the last couple of days. I actually went away on Friday and only came back yesterday night. I didn't tell you, but I shouldn't need to tell you all I'm doing. But yeah, I did go on holiday for basically the night. I say holiday. I went to an air show, an air display down in the south of England. So that's what I went to do on Saturday. So I had to go on Friday night. So yeah, that's why the lack of content. And other than that, we are going to dive in as promised in the last one. We're going to be looking at some of the officer sort of the bridge stat source of crews. We're not looking at layouts. We're not looking at anything in particular with regards to what officers should go where. It's more to do with the actual stats, what you're looking for, synergies, this, that, and the other, and obviously what that allows you to do on the ship, and where to look on the ship with regards to how they best fit into that ship that they're going on. So let's dive in. So straight away, as you can see, this is my normal hostile PvE crew. There's two different variants of this one. There's this, obviously the one with Talan, and then you got one with Chen, which everyone knows. Obviously, energy, kinetic. That's all you need to know. With regards to the actual officers themselves, what you want to try and look for, you just want to try and look for an officer that has a good captain's ability, which is the one in the middle. The captain's ability is this one on the side. So the captain's maneuver is, for example, for Christopher Pike, it increases the effectiveness of all the officers' abilities that trigger in combat by 120%. Obviously, every officer is going to have a different captain's maneuver. Not every officer does have a captain's maneuver, though, however. For example, if you go to the lower deck stuff, these do not have captain's maneuvers as they are unfit to be a captain. So they only have two, which is the lower deck, and then they have that extra bonus, which I spoke about in the last video about the lower deck stuff. So just bear that in mind when you are selecting which officers you want to lead your ship and your bridge crew. So like I say, we got Pike in the middle, and then a good thing to do if you got rid of all of these, for example, a good starting point would be to click group. The reason you click group, it then bounds together all the officers that you have available to you, and any single one of them that has synergy or could potentially have synergy with the potential officer in the captain's chair. As we can see here, Monroe is going to be that synergy. So you're going to click confirm. And the reason she's going to be, obviously, she's part of the same, essentially the same shakedown cruise type of, whatever you want to call it, group, I guess. And she's going to give a plus 80% synergy bonus. So if we get rid of that, for example, we go back in, we look at his ability. His officer ability is at 40%. If we just leave him at that point, it's only 40%, which is why you need to synergize as much as you can. Because if we put Monroe in there, as you can see, she gives a plus 80% bonus, which then gives us the 120%, as I said before. However, as you can see as well, we do not have anyone else that synergizes with these two. So what you want to do then is you want to pick the officer that best suits the needs that you want. For example, if you're going to go for energy-based stuff, Chen, for PvE, Chen is going to be the one for you for that. Because of this ability, if the opponent is a hostile, when increasing the damage done by the energy weapons by 30%, yada, 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 yada. Again, you just need to pick whichever one suits what you need them to do. So let's pick an officer that has a bunch of different officers to synergize with. So for example, if we go Kirk. So if we go with Kirk and we click group. So we've got these officers, all 6 of these at the start are now the officers that synergize with Kirk in this captain's role. So if we click Spock, for example, we're going to get a plus 20, and we click Bones, we're going to get another plus 10. And again, these go towards this officer captain's maneuver ability. So he starts out at plus 40%, and he's going to get a plus 30 off these once I click confirm. And that should go to plus 70, as you can see, right there. And that's how the synergy works. That's what you want to do. You can min-max it a little bit more and try and see if officers provide more, for example. So like Horror provides another plus 10% over Bones. However, that's then where you pick which officers you, again, want to suit best, depending on what their abilities are. but we'll leave it in there for now for obviously showing purposes. The next abilities you want to look at on these officers, which is the same as the lower deck in a sense. The next ability you want to look at is their bridge or officer ability. So the officer ability for Spock is the Spock restores shield health to the amount equal to the 750% of the defense of the officers. And again, going back to the other video to try and min-max this type of stuff, he needs high defense in the lower deck. So you want to try and, in the lower deck, maybe look at the defense stats and try and get that as high as possible, because that will benefit Spock's ability, for example. And then if you look at Kirk's ability, at the beginning of each round, Kirk has a 75% chance of inspiring morale to the ship for 2 rounds. This is important, this secondary ability. As you can see, he inspires morale. So then if we go to Spock's ability, while the ship has morale, Spock restores this. So this ability does not do anything for anything in the game unless the ship has morale, which is why you need to pair him with officers that can potentially give off these bonuses. And Spock is given this bonus a 75% chance, so he's going to get it 3 out of 4 times, which is pretty damn good. And it constantly keeps popping, hopefully every 2 rounds, so that the ship constantly has morale. Therefore, Spock's ability, which is this one, constantly keeps working every single round that you are in the fight or whatever it is. Uhura, her secondary is just a standard accuracy buff, which is why a lot of people would prefer to use someone like Bones. So every time the ship gets hit by a weapon attack, McCoy increases the defense of all the officers of the bridge. Again, this is why people use this ability, because it increases the defense of all the officers on the bridge by 30%. And what did we say a second ago? That help, or someone that needs defense. Well, Spock again needs that defense buff. So this works of 750% of the defense of all the officers on the ship. So that's not just lower deck, but that is also the officers on the bridge, obviously. And if Bones is every single time the ship gets hit by a weapon, if Bones then is increasing the defense of the officers on the bridge by 30%, that's getting just stacked and stacked and stacked defense. Then Spock's ability then will work even more so for the next round, the next round, the next round, so on and so on. And this is basically what you want to do. You want to look at officers. You want to potentially synergize if you possibly can. But then fundamentally, you want to just basically put in the best officers to do the best job. For example, here's a good one that none of them synergize in the greatest extent. But you might want to lead with someone like 5 of 11, because 5 of 11's officer captain's ability is incredibly good. So it increases the shield, deflection, armor, and dodge by 200% of the total health of all the officers on the ship. And then you probably might want to then put in someone like, if we go to strength, you're going to maybe put in someone like Khan. We can't put him in, but we'll show you his ability. So his secondary ability, which is the every time ship is hit by the ship is hit by a ship or defense platform weapon attack, Khan increases the critical hit chance by a certain amount of percentage, depending on what level your officer is, obviously, by 3% for me, and this is cumulative every single round of the battle. So they do not synergize whatsoever. However, his ability is incredibly good. However, they do have a good synergy if you want to go against Armadas, and that is to put 6 of 11 in with this ability. Again, can't show you because it's on the other ship, but things like that is what you want to look out for. If you can synergize, then that's the best way to do it for the most cases. However, if you can't, you need to look at the abilities, the officer, and the obviously the captain's maneuver. You need to look at both of them and see which one fits the role best for what you're trying to accomplish, whether that be PvE, PvP, Armadas, or just general, just general going around the galaxy. Because there is officers in the game that do, for example, so if I just confirm that and go across to one of my crews. So does this crew, for example, absolutely none of them synergize. However, this crew allows me to travel as far as humanly possible for my ship in the game because of all of their abilities. So it starts off with TOS Scotty, increasing the warp range of an explorer by 4. overall. Obviously, warp range by 4. The secondary, which is kind of non-existent with regards to this ability. And then the other 2 officers, so we've got the normal Scotty, Cadet Scotty, which increases the warp distance by the ship by 5. So that's any ship, but in particular this one. And then we've got this one, which is from Grush, increases the warp range of the ship by 8%, which, depending on obviously what ship it is, that obviously is variable. So I have this ship on my Discovery. I have this crew on my Discovery, and that takes my range to a grand total of, at the moment, a grand total of 72. If I took them off, it's only, I believe, should be in here. So if I go to that, the warp range, as you can see there, it starts as a base of 28. And then I've got a bit of stuff that do help it to get a higher warp range, but it only goes up to basically, say, 50. So we're getting quite a substantial buff from, just having the specific officers to do a certain task. Obviously, hitting anything with these is not the right task for these. These are just to add the most amount of range to any ship that I can possibly add it to. So yeah, hopefully this video has been useful to new players in the game, even old players if you didn't really understand the fundamentals of what you're looking for when it comes to the officer stuff. I'm pretty sure you did, but mainly for the new players of the game. Hopefully it's been useful. Give that thumbs up if it has been. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.